Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome to episode 55 of the Breaking Point podcast. It is a major weekend. We are just a couple of days away from the OpTic Texas Major 1 in Texas. It's exciting stuff. There's so many storylines building up to this one. The drama has been pretty immense the last few weeks. The matches we have on day one are immense. We're going to do bracket predictions. We're going to break down all the stuff that's happened this last week. Paris Legion of all teams making a roster change. It's absolutely insane. Well, joined by both of the boys. Lion, how are you doing? Your nice color correction for now. You may go purple at some point. The camera's a little bit funny, but it's okay. You're here. That's all that matters.
I'm good, man. I'm just excited for the matches this week. Some great matches. First proper tournament of the year. LAN, OpTic LAN. Oh, exciting times. How are you, Austin?
Not gonna lie, I've been pretty shitty. Been a tough week. Yeah, pretty much. A lot of people don't know, but my wife is from Ukraine, and with everything going on there, that's why I have this nice little flag behind me. Of course, everything's been going to shit there. They're obviously in war with Russia right now. So yeah, it's been pretty fucking shit. But you keep on going. I just want to shout out one thing real quickly. My pinned tweet on my Twitter. You can go to my Twitter. It's its_EasyMac. The pinned tweet has 4 different links to charities. Whether that's it's most of them are humanitarian. So you can go look at that. At least by shouting this out, I hope that brings some awareness to it. It has everything from hospital supplies to charities to help children, to help pets, to help refugees, pretty much anything. So I hope even if this only gets $1 added onto that, it's a huge moral support victory, I think. So please check that out, and make sure to keep everyone in your prayers that's over there, and everyone in Europe right now. I feel like is going to be going through a tough time this year. So just make sure you're supporting everyone that you can.
Great words, Austin. I mean, congratulations. Also, look, it's the world is just so crazy, man. It's just crazy how when I was doing the videos the last week or so, every day I just look at my Twitter tab and I'm like, bloody hell, man. It's just all kicking off. But thankfully, sports exist, esports exist to help take our minds off the things that happen elsewhere. And that's what we're going to do today. Everyone knows the world's it's a bit shitty at times.
Right, do you want to elaborate why you said congratulations? Because it just sounded like you said congrats for something.
Oh, well, just because Austin said I wasn't very clear. That's a good point. I should make that very clear. Austin mentioned that his wife, Yulia, married. So I'll just say congratulations for getting married. That's what that was about. Because I wasn't aware until today. So
yeah, I haven't made that really public for. I don't like keeping my Twitter too public, but yeah, we got married over the end of last summer before champs. So it's been really tough on everyone, obviously with Ukraine, because she's got a lot of family over there, a lot of friends. So, but yeah, that's I guess that is one positive. But yeah.
Yeah.
Let's crack right on.
Love you, Yules. I know you're watching.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, I just hope everything works out, man. It's so crazy all across the board right now, especially for people who have family and friends in there. Hopefully everything works out for the better. First thing we're going to dive into, we've had a partnership with PrizePicks going on for a couple of weeks now into the start of the major. Honestly, probably the coolest over/under type entry app for pick'ems that I've seen in a very long time. Not only can we go through and do Call of Duty, which is what we're going to do now, but you can also create your entry across all the different sports. So the one that I made on my video a little bit ago was I picked a player from COD and then I paired it up with CSGO because Katowice was on at the time. But you can also pair it across all other sports. It's really cool. We'll dive into it and explain how it works here. And then we're going to go through and we're going to pick a couple of COD players and just see what we think, guys, for the week here. There's not all that many options right now in COD compared to everything else, but it's still pretty good and we can dive into it. So this is PrizePicks. Is this on stream, Omar? Let me know in the chat. If it's on stream, we're good to go. Awesome stuff. So this is how PrizePicks work. So we've got we've got Call of Duty, got all the other sports here across at the top, and in some of them, I think that there was CS on here earlier, but the matches for today have concluded, so it's not there anymore. And for COD, we just get kills, but in other things, you get all sorts of stuff. Like I can pick the goalies, how many saves is this keeper going to make in the game, all this type of stuff. Now, on the COD side, we get the following. So right now, we just look at kills. And we've got some players that we can see what's going on this weekend. So the way this works is we just choose over under on these players, create an entry that we can either do just in COD or across multiple sports and esports. And then we just see how we're feeling, how confident we're feeling. So of course, what a lot of this is in Call of Duty right now is like, which team is more than likely going to play Bakash? Because if your player plays Bakash, so the way this is we look at the amount of kills over the first 3 maps of the series that are guaranteed to be played. I'm sure over time they'll update this with some more like complicated metrics and stuff. But for now we're looking at the kills. So for example, Afro, is he going to get more or less than 61.5 kills? Now that seems like kind of a reasonable number, but at the same time, if Bakash isn't played, it's probably going to be less than that. Like, what's your thoughts on this, Austin? Because, that's what you've got to consider. Not only how good the player is and what they're expected to get, but also the map set these teams are likely going to run into.
Yeah, so Bokaj right now, obviously, it is a very slay-heavy map, you could say. And right now, maps tend to go longer. They end up eating a lot more of the play clock. So the teams that do play Bokaj a little bit more are up there, but they're not totally up there. Like right now, LA Thieves has played Bokaj in every single series there are. And when you look at Slayer rating, which is a good statistic to look at when you're making these picks, right now Kenny and Envoy are sitting outside of the top 10, even though those guys have played it in every single map. So while Bokaj is pretty nice, there are some caveats. But that's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, what are you thinking, Lion? I mean, we've got 8 players we can pick from. I think we'll go through and pick 2 of them. Maybe one of them will do over, one of them will do under.
I can't see the screen, so I don't know what I'm looking at.
Let me just I'll send you a screenshot real quick, and you can and then you can see what I see. I'll put it in the chat. There you go. So this is what we're looking at. So these are the players we get to pick from. I'm thinking a BZ over 61, because Shotzi's the highest amount of kills, 63.5. If OpTic play Bokaj against Surge, he might well get that. But if they don't, he probably doesn't, because 63.5 is a lot. Like, I think the one I did before the final week of Major 3, it was like Kenny was predicted to get, the over-under number was like 62.5. And I was thinking like, he's just probably not going to get that. I think I went below. And I think he ended up getting like 58 or something. So I just managed to pull that one out the back. But what do you reckon? What does your instinct say?
Oh, it's tough because the way they've weighted them is pretty fair. And they probably, right? Austin's got the cheat sheet. He knows. I think you could probably make bank off this if you follow Austin and Mac O'Neill. But honestly, I think, it really does depend on the maps. And so, do you have the maps, Austin? Like what each team has played? Because that's key.
Right now, anybody that's watching the podcast, you go to breakingpoint.gg. You can check out all of the map records when you go to team stats. But for the Lion, I got you. So
Austin's got the special stats,
Yeah, so right now,
behind the scenes stats,
I'll give you. There's GRVTY and Bokaj. Here's Berlin, because you can see there are a lot of even though teams don't like Bokaj right now, a lot of teams are playing Bokaj, and you're seeing a lot of Tuscan. You're not really seeing too much GRVTY yet and too much Berlin, because those are more of the specialty maps that we've seen in the past. So what you're getting right now is a lot of Bokaj and Tuscan, which are actually SMG heavy maps.
I've got a theory.
Yeah, I'm starting to build theories through the first qualifier. So right now, what you got to really look at is how the SMGs match up, stack up. So for instance, when I look at London and the LA Gorillas, right? So that one's kind of tough because you got Afro and I believe Nasty still on the secondary AR, and then you have Asim and you have Hook on the other side. So right now, when you're looking at that is kind of hard to judge because those, I would say that SMG duo is pretty, like, they match up pretty well against each other. So it's like, so when you look at the SMG matchups and like one of them has a favorite, it's easier to, pick that player to go with the over. But when they're evenly matched, you have a higher risk that one of them is not going to do as hot. Whereas when you look at like Kleenex, for instance, he plays golf against the Thieves. I think Kleenex is probably going to be one of the best SMGs in that matchup, and he's going to be really aggressive because right now Thieves are going to be more favored to go over them. So they're going to really need Kleenex to have a really good map. So that's why I think Kleenex would have a higher kill total than the 61. Whereas I would say Afro is probably going to go over that, and ASIM might be. I would say ASIM's going to be probably around like 57. So I would go over on the Afro and stay where ASIM is. I would probably go under.
I like that pick. What I'm thinking is, I think we can kind of start wrapping this up, because my theory is that, as you said, Los Angeles Thieves play a lot of Bacage, as do Toronto. So they play first rounds. So my theory is there's going to be Bacage map 1 there, and Kleenex is disgusting on the map. So I feel like going for Kleenex over is a good shout. And then you reckon maybe a seam under 58.5? I think that's probably not a bad guess, to be honest. I feel like, I don't know, I like Asim. I love Asim as a player. I think he's really talented, but it feels like some of his series recently is somewhat overperformed. So I feel like he's maybe a decent bet to go under, decent play to go under here.
With him,
go for it.
What do you reckon?
With him, it's like when they're facing off against better teams, like teams are more favored. So I would say right now London, it would be the favorite team over LAG. Not that by that much, but I think they are. ASIM's usually trying to do a lot of like the dirty work around the map, and he's trying to like overcompensate that way. When they're playing teams that are more equal to their footing or under them, that's when he's able to kind of like free himself from those shackles, and he really slays really heavy. I think we've seen that over the past couple weeks, but I think in this matchup, it's going to be a tough order to beat them. So they're going to have to play as a unit and like really strategically. So that's why I think ASIM's going to be doing more of the routes rather than the slaying.
Yeah.
All right, that's pretty good to leave it. Nero's a good shout.
I think Nero might be a good shout because we talked about the Bacage, and they've played it 4 times. And 56.5 kills is not a high total. The only problem is they're playing against a lander phase. And
yeah, that's a good point as well. Anyway,
his matchup is who? Celium? That's his matchup?
It's not great.
56.5. So who do you reckon we're putting our money on? Just for now, like our picks would be.
I think I'm gonna go Kleenex over and a seam under. I mean, we can't actually place the entry here because I'm from the UK. It's currently only available in the US and Canada, and in the majority of the states it's available. I'm pretty sure PrizePicks will match any deposit when you use our link up to $100. That'll be well, if you're watching on YouTube, it's in the description box. Just love to see it. So get involved. As I say, if I try and place entry, it says we currently do not allow access from the UK. But this is what you do. You choose either flex or power play, depending on how confident you are. So if we're feeling okay, maybe we'll just hit one of the two. We can go for this and then still double up. Or if you want to go all out, I'm semi-confident. It's probably what I'd go for. But yeah, that's how it works. That's how awesome service. And not just, this isn't just for COD. Like, we can go across everything, the NFL Combine, whatever this is. I can choose Rich Eisen in terms of, how much time he's going to get. I don't know what's going on there, but we'll go over on
dash.
Yeah, I mean, look at this guy. He's looking good. So I'm confident. But yeah, I see the 40-yard dash. See, again, all this type of stuff. Pretty cool. So yeah, get involved, use the link. And let's kind of segue from that discussion straight into all the topics we have for this week on the COD side, because it's a major one. Are we back to the big screen, Omar? Beautiful work. Paris, baby. What's going on? Paris have done something. Can you believe it? They've made a change, and they're sitting here saying, we've got a new roster going into the major. They just confirmed their kind of full thing that's going on, or they just confirmed GRVTY joining the team. But there was all sorts of drama about this the last week or so, right? Because the initial rumor was that Decimate's gone and Fellow's gone and GRVTY's in and Jimbo's in. And now it's like, well, maybe Decimate's just gone and GRVTY's in and Fellow's on the flex and Jimbo isn't in at all. But then we're seeing that Jimbo is signing a contract somewhere, like some sort of gift going on. So then people are saying, well, actually, hang on a second. Maybe they are a two-man swap, or maybe Jimbo's going to be the bench player, or what's going on there. So, confusing one to me. I mean, first of all, Paris making a change. Congratulations. Well done, everyone. Decimate being gone is a bit of a question, right? The fact that John's still there. But look, Gravity's in the team, right? I mean, it's officially confirmed now. I'm excited about it. I think that finally Paris are trying to make some moves. I think that still, I don't really think it matters what moves they make. If they're minimum salaries, they're never going to be above, they're never going to get better than 8. But they might at least give it a go to try and make champs if some of the other teams fall off. Don't know what you think, Austin.
I love the pickup of Gravity. Obviously, I've been a big supporter of him since literally he started breaking in Black Ops 4. I think as far as main AR goes, he has a high floor, and he's not gonna bomb out ever. He's gonna play really well no matter what. That's something you need in your AR, like stability. So that's what he's gonna give them. So I'm actually really excited they're giving them a shot. For Desi, I mean, I don't think Desi has necessarily been their issue. I think there's a lot of issues within that roster. Obviously, every team's not going to be good. Like, every team's going to have their issues. It's about solving them. I think each of those players, those 4 players before Tom came in, had their issues. And you just got to decide which one is the most detrimental to the team's success. And that's what they did there. Obviously, I'm not inside the team, so I don't know why Desi, but they made that decision. As far as Jimbo goes, Jimbo did tweet out the contract sign GIF. That's something I'm actually really intrigued about, because Jimbo is one of those like hyper aggressive SMGs. He's gonna be one of those like in your face SMGs. He has played with Tom a lot over the past 2 years. I think he was also on the Atlanta FaZe Academy team in Modern Warfare, so I've seen him quite a bit. He also has played with John and Fellow. I think the Easter team last year was Tom, Jimbo, Fellow, and John at one point. So I think they have all known each other. So I would not be shocked to see Jimbo get a shot in the future. Maybe they couldn't get it right now, whether Visa, because Jimbo's in Canada as well, or maybe they just want to see how this 4-stack works as a team. So we'll see. I am at least hopeful that Paris is making moves. They're scouting. They're picking up the right pieces. Obviously, I'm also a big proponent that you need the veteran leadership around these guys, around rookies that come in, because there's a lot to learn, especially when you hit a rut, when you start hitting roadblocks. You need that veteran presence there. So I don't think you should go all rookies, but bringing in one, bringing in maybe another, and keeping some of the veteran leadership there. You might have a combination for someone that could compete for like an upper bracket start at one of these majors.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting change. Bringing in a rookie, a guy who has deserved a shot for like the last 3 years. It's pretty insane he didn't get that shot. How old is he?
I believe he's 21.
Okay, so he's still young.
Because he broke in with MC. So the original FaZe Black team was Stellium, Asum, Simp, and Phantoms, and Gravity.
Yeah, and then they won that first event in Black Ops 4 amateur event. I'm just surprised with the change for Decimate, because for the last 2 years he's been one of the best S&D players stats wise that we've seen. So I'm wondering, S&D, will they get even worse? Not sure. Don't know if that's even possible. But yeah, I'm just excited to see what they can do. I think last year when teams made a one-person change, it kind of actually made a big impact. Like we saw with Afro when he came in. London got so much better. When Standy came in, Minnesota got way better. Insight, obviously. And so I think that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that spark when they bring in a young player. And I think that'll be possible. It's just we need to see more out of the other 3 that are already on that team. And they clearly have a lot more potential than they've shown this year, because they've looked ass. So I think, if they can just pick it up and with this change find a new momentum, I think they'll be in a better place, because it would be shocking if they got like a top 4 finish, and I would love that, honestly. If they just made a huge losers run, it would be so dope.
It would be sick. I mean, well, okay, but their bracket is tough because they play either OpTic or Seattle, so it's not easy. I just want to see a map win. Give me a map win. Yeah. Then we can work with that. Just don't get 3-0. That's the goal here, I think, for Paris.
It's their hard point, honestly. Like right now, they're 2-4 in S&D and 2-3 in control. And they're actually one of the better attacking GRVTY teams. I believe they. Let me fact check this before I say this incorrectly.
I like that, Austin.
Where are they? Paris Legion. So on GRVTY, they're 9-1 on defense, right? So they're one of the best like defensive teams on GRVTY. But their hard point is 1-8. So this move kind of shouts to me
York level, baby.
That they feel like they're strong and or like not strong, but they can compete in hard point in S&D or control in S&D. So they think they're struggling in hard point, and maybe that's where they saw Desi as more of a negative in the hard point, which has been something maybe he hasn't had the most strength in the past. But it is interesting that he was the one to get the boot here early.
Let's talk about Decimate real quick, just because there was some talk from, I saw Blaz did a tweet, of course, longtime teammate of Decimate back in the day, saying like, look, people talking trash on Decimate, he's always getting scapegoated, like this guy hasn't got a real opportunity yet, which I thought was an interesting take personally, because to me, yeah, like, I don't know. Decimate's a solid player, but it feels like every shot he's got the last couple of years or so it's just gone to shit, is it not? Like last year, he had the Seattle chance. I forget what came first, whether it was the New York sub-in for Asim because of the visa, or whether it was the Seattle thing. Might have been the New York thing that came first, actually. But whatever it was, he subbed in for an event, looked all right. And then, so the Seattle thing happens. That was the big one anyway, that he comes along and like 2 weeks in is like, this team's shit, I'm out of here. And then to preserve his stock or whatever the rumor was at the time. And then he makes the glorious return this year to the Paris Legion and looked okay, and then gets benched anyway, and then just like released. They didn't even keep him on as a sub. He's just gone. So I feel like he was solid. I don't know. There must have been some internal workings here, because theoretically he played better than John, but to me it's like he's had enough chances at this point. Yes, the teams that he's had chances on might not have been the greatest, but the example I used in my video when I talked about this was, look at Afro, right? Last year, comes into London, a dysfunctional team, not particularly good, top 10 at best in the league, and immediately you can tell he's got star quality. He's taken over series, he's winning maps on his own. That's what like an SMG stud type player does in the league. They come in, and even if they're on a bad team, they'll find ways to show that like they mean business. They're here for the long haul. Decimate hasn't managed that in his time. But, maybe if he did get another opportunity on a different team, things would be different. But there's just not been enough evidence for me to say that should be the case, or that will be the case in the future. Don't know what you think, Lion.
Yeah, I tend to agree. That's all I got to say. I don't really want to trash Desi too much, but he did get a bunch of opportunities since what? Start of World War II? Yeah, Ground Zero. And yeah, I mean, he looked solid. He's always looked like a solid player, but he's never been that standout SMG player like a Kleenex, or he seems more like, oh, this is going to sound bad, but I'm not trashing Bance either, but he seems more like a player
supportive SMG.
Yeah, you'd fit into a system. And so I don't know. Whatever. What do you think, Austin?
I mean, look, I watched him all through World War II. I saw him on Black Ops 4. I saw him on Modern Warfare. We saw him on Cold War. We've seen him in Vanguard. I don't know. I feel like that's a lot of game time over the past 6 years, 5 years. Whether or not he's gotten a fair shake, I will say he's not gotten a fair shake on all those. Like the Modern Warfare team, yes, they did not practice, but that's also part of the culture that you got to help build. But I will say, like, he's always been good at S&D. That was something he's always been known for. Obviously, he's an S&D star. The one thing I've always hated is I don't think I've ever seen really too much in respawns. Like even last year when he was on Seattle, he was doing really well in S&D. But the thing is like we know you can do good in S&D. I wish he stayed there to develop his hardpoint game, because being around Gunless, Octane, and Pristini, like I thought that was a good setup for him. Even though that team was not good, like stay there, show some positives, show some growth over the time. I don't care if you're losing every map, as long as you're showing me you're doing the right fundamentals and stuff and learning and growing. He didn't want to go down that route. He got off that team. He went to New York, and it's just been spurted since then. Granted, again, it's like this year with Paris, I think he's doing good and he's doing okay in S&D, but I just wish we could see him stick to a team for longer so he could like grow in the respawns. Because I don't think, statistically, I don't think we've really seen him, flourish in respawns, and that's something many players can't really be a one game mode player anymore. You got to be pretty like in depth in all of them. So that's just something I just want to see him develop and get better at in the future. I think he will. I think he has a lot of talent. It's just I don't know if he's gonna be a top 5 SMG, but that doesn't mean he can't win. I feel like he can be a good supportive SMG that's good at respawns, that does the dirty work or that's really good in S&D and does the dirty work in respawns and do better there. But I think a lot of people put a lot of like he has to be that star player, and I don't think that's him. I think his role is be a star in S&D and fill in the gaps and respawns. And I feel like he just has to learn that a little bit more and get better at it. And I think we'll eventually see him in the league again in the future, I believe.
Yeah, just looking back on that Seattle team, like Octane Gunless, I mean, like, come on, man, that was some talent, You had the talent, like it could have worked. I feel like you throw, I don't know, yeah.
Like what tanks your stock? What tanks your stock more? This year's Paris or last year's Seattle? I would 100% say this year's Paris. And like last year's Seattle, like if he was the shining light of that team, that says way more about him than the other 3 guys. If he's willing them to even a couple map wins, if he's the bright spot on that team, that says more about him than everybody else. And I feel like that kind of got lost. And then he maybe there was other offers that could have been on the table, but I feel like that was a chance for him to really prove that I am a very good SMG in this league.
Yeah, we never saw him play with that team on LAN as well, because they were extremely competent on LAN. And they could have, made even more moves if he had stayed. But
exactly, yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, I do agree the team was chalked, but you never know. Like, all I was saying is if Afro comes into that Seattle team, like, he at least still shows some promise. Anyway, let's move on from Paris. We'll talk about some... Well, weapon balancing changes that did come through briefly, or like small weapon balancing tweaks. The MP40 has been nerfed by 20-25% in terms of its damage range, which is significant. Like its 3-shot kill range has gone down from like 15 to 12 meters, and similar reduction of the 4-shot kill range. At the end of the day, the MP40 is still the best gun in the game. At least a lot of people would say, I imagine. What do you think about this, Austin? Are we ever going to get a third gun in the meta? Because sometimes what can happen, I feel like this happened a bit in Modern Warfare, is that the MP5 was the best, and then when nerfs start to happen, and probably it's still going to be like one of the most used guns, then probably they'll realize, okay, we nerfed it a bit, it didn't really change like how many people used it. We might nerf it again. And at that point, the pros obviously are very familiar with it and like it, but all of a sudden there might be another weapon that overtakes it, and then a guy like Envoy brings the Uzi out to the party and is like, popping pieces, right? Kind of what we saw in Modern Warfare. So I wonder if that'll happen again this year, because the weapon meta always kind of does develop usually, or at least other weapons become viable. And I'm not sure that's happened yet, but it might well happen at some point.
Yeah, you got to think back. It's really tough to create a 3-gun meta. I'm always a big proponent of it. I would love to see it, but with 4v4, it's even extremely less likely that you'll see 3-gun metas, just because in 5v5 you could have 2-2-1, which was a lot easier to do. If you think back to past 3-gun metas, you either have like one that's extremely good at close range, that's better than the SMG. So let's say we had like the Scorpion in Black Ops 2. That was like the meta gun you could pull out for close ranges. Or, Black Ops 4, we had the ICR, which was just a laser beam from far, and then you have a mid-range gun, and then you have a close-range gun. Currently, with how the maps play, I don't think you're going to see that. If anything, you might see an SMG that's as good as the MP40, but even then, pro players just end up figuring out what is the best SMG to use at most ranges. That's what's going to end up happening. Unfortunately, just until that, the closest we got was Modern Warfare, but when the damage mags got GA'd off of the Uzi, that didn't make it. The Uzi just fell off a cliff. The damage mags and they all got GA'd. Like all damage mags got GA'd, and then when the SMGs matched up after that, the MP or what was it, MP5 was still better than all of the other SMGs. So, my only hope is that maybe we see a fast shooting SMG that is really bad at medium range, that's really bad at long range, that shoots the marshmallows, but from close range it melts, and maybe we could see that come in. I feel like that has more of a chance of coming in than a long range gun does. Just the way with the doors and the fast pace and just the maps in general. I don't think you'll see too many.
Yeah. So we had the 3-gun meta pretty much every year. We had Black Ops 3. We didn't.
Black Ops 3, man.
IW we did the K-bar, and then MV4,
ERAD,
and ERAD. And then World War II, we had the bar, STG, and what was the SMG?
PPSH. But think about that. That was you had a long range, you had the medium range because the bar was extremely good at long range.
I love the bar, man.
The STG was the medium range, and then the PPSH was the
other way around.
Range.
Yeah.
The bar was the medium. Yeah.
The bar was like 3 shots, but more recoil. But yeah, and then we had that was honestly beautiful.
Yeah,
I want the same thing here, like, because usually there's only one SMG. It's very rare. Like Black Ops 2 is an example of Scorpion, MP7,
PDW.
MCC, PDW even at the start. Black Ops 3 is another example of where, like, a lot of guns are viable, like the Kuda, the VMP, the Vespa.
Ban and Protect as well.
Yeah, like Pharaohs came out because of Ban and Protect, like Nadeshot likes the Weevil, like, all this. So Black Ops 3 had the best balance for sure, especially on ARs as well. The AR, I even made a video specifically on this. The AR weapon balance in Black Ops 3 was so beautifully simplistic. Like, the ARs were designed, if you look at the ARs in that game, their rate of fire and their shots to kill, they were, like, the LMGs is the easiest example. Like, the Gorgon, 2-shot kill, fired quick enough that it was the same time to kill as the BRM, 3-shot kill, fire rate, and that was the same time to kill as the Dingo, 4-shot kill, and the fire rate was such that they all had the same time to kill. Like, they were designed such that, okay, this is a 2-shot, this is a 3-shot, this is a 4-shot. The fire rate just makes them all balanced. And they basically did the same thing on the ARs. Like, the Man of War was a 3-shot, the HVK was a 4-shot, but it fired at the rate so that they were balanced. It's like, it's so simple, but it works.
You know what messed it up completely? Think back to the attachments you had on that. The attachments weren't nothing crazy, right? You go nowadays.
It's true. Nowadays, it's
you have so much, right? Where, like, think about this: in Modern Warfare, you had the MP or the M4 that you could build out, so it was the best gun from long range, right? But you could also change out the stock to no stock and do no sight, and then it was the best gun at medium range. So, like, you have one gun that there's 2 variations of it are the best at 2 different ranges, and then you have the MP5. So, like, nowadays it's just like with the attachments, there's always one AR that you can just soup up for medium range, or you can soup it up for long range. Like, there's already for the automaton right now, there's already 2 different setups for different ranges that you usually fight at. It's really, I feel like that just ends up killing a lot of the 3-gun metas that you could possibly see.
Yeah, I think that's right.
You made a good point about the maps as well. The fact that the maps just don't suit it.
Think about it. Like you have Tuscan and Bowcage, which are really SMG heavy maps. No matter what AR you're trying to bring in, as you said, it's usually a second AR that you see these 3-gun metas. Those 2 maps are not conducive to actually having good AR play. You have GRVTY, which that could be great, but then you think of Berlin. But in Hardpoint, right now, even though there are some long lanes, a lot of the hills are actually pretty close range. So you end up seeing 2-3 SMGs at times. It's really more SMG oriented. So that's what kind of messes it up as well.
Hopefully things will improve on that front. We shall see, but I agree. It's the attachments that are annoying. As soon as Modern Warfare happened, it just felt like that was the way it was going to go, that there's just one AR that you just soup up in all ranges. Like, come on, lads.
Change the barrel, then it's the long range demon, or change the stock, and next thing you know, you have a pocket SMG basically.
Like, pretty much, yeah. Like, there was variations of the M4. Like, I saw Octane used a video in, like, the ranked play mode. It wasn't ranked play, like League CDL playlist, whatever, where he literally just kitted his M4 out as an SMG. He put all the SMG attachments on it, and it looked like an SMG. He ran around it as an SMG. I'm like, what is this game? That's the same bloody gun.
Yeah.
It sounds the same. The iron sights are the same, but it's now an SMG. What have you done? And I'm sure we're going back there again, but it's annoying for competitive. Let's talk LA Thieves real quick because we are going to do our full bracket predictions here in a second, and I'm excited for this one. But LA Thieves have kind of been in the news because they're coming in here as, all right, they might be the favourites for this event, or at least a lot of people say they are. I don't think they really are favourites, but like the reverse sweep guys all predicted them to win outside of Duck, which was impressive. They're definitely right up there. At the same time, relatively, they've had a rather easy schedule. But a lot of people talk about their comms. I was talking to Kenny just a couple of days ago, did the interview on the Breaking Point channel. He's really confident in this team. He loves the chemistry they have, the way they're working together. Kenny's been playing great. Octane's been great, but even then, like Octane's stats aren't insane. But once we go to a major, when they're not playing online from LA, you'd think it gets even better. And Octane also had a few interesting words to say on Envoy. He basically said that like he's never teamed with anyone quite like Envoy with the ability to just win you a game for free. Like he was saying that he's teamed with a lot of players who some maps they'll just go 40 and 20 and just win you the map. But there's in Envoy's case, he might be like 25 and 25, but he'll just go on a 10 streak out of nowhere and win you an offense on GRVTY control or something, which I thought was quite the statement really to say that he's like, the best player he's ever seen at taking over games like that, which just makes me feel, and Draza gets on well with the guys as well, and he's obviously very talented and has already had his takeover moment. So just feel like everything seems to kind of be coming together for LA Thieves, Lion, and I'm excited that Octane finally has a team that he seems excited about, because I think that's got him in a good headspace, which he's probably been lacking, to be honest, on Seattle.
Yeah, I can't imagine they're going to go from playing online in LA to LAN and they'll get worse. I mean, maybe the pressure creates some issues within that team, but because they haven't had to come up with that yet, but I will see. I think it's an interesting comment to say about Envoy, because he played with BO4 Priester, who I think is one of the best players on any game ever. Like he brought that team from being like detrimental with Crowder to being one of the best teams, if not the best team in Black Ops 4. So I think maybe a little bit unfair, but I think this team, I still don't see them as my favorites, because where did they place at the kickoff? Was it top 4?
Yeah,
like they played good at the kickoff. I'm just wondering, because this time last year they didn't go 4-1 in stage 1 last year with TJ and all that, and then they came to the major and they didn't do that well.
Yes, because they lost to LA. They lost to LAG in the first round of the first major. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and so that's everyone was high on LA Thieves this time last year as well. And so I'm wondering, is it the same sort of product? But I don't know. What do you reckon, Austin?
I think it's interesting because none of them are really slaying like too hard. They have 3 players at a 1.0, like literally just 1.00. Like I guess technically Envoy's at a 0.99. And then Kenny's at a 1.05, so they're not like heavy slaying. They don't have that one key slayer that's just lighting it up. So it makes me think they're winning these games off of fundamentals, pretty much winning these games off of fundamentals. They're playing really well. I think they're a really good hardpoint team. I think they're like right now there's like a couple teams that are really good at hardpoint. I feel like we're up there, and I feel like they're up there. They could beat like almost anybody. The thing with me is like, as I'm pulling up their map records, the thing with me is I'm a little bit worried about their S&D. Their S&D, they were 2-4 in the qualifying matches. I want to see how that translates to LAN. Because right now they're 0-2 on Berlin and 0-1 on Siege. They're 1-0 on Bow Cage, but if you remember that Bow Cage, Florida almost brought it back from 0-5, I think, 1-5. So I'm not terribly confident.
Yeah, it went to 0-5 to 5-4. I was scared.
Yeah, I'm not terribly confident on like any of their S&Ds yet. Doesn't mean they're a bad S&D team. It just means like they have to put it together, and so they have part of the puzzle solved by being a very, very good hardpoint team. It's just bringing together one of the other 2 modes, which I think they're okay at. They just have to wrap those up. But the thing is I think Envoy is amazing. He's one of the smartest SMGs. You can see it on the routes he takes on the map, whether it's a short route or a long route. He knows exactly when to do each. Kenny is I really believe he's one of the best like ARs. He's basically the main AR nowadays. He's really good with the weapon. He's really aggressive, which is what I like out of him. He's really confident in his play. So those guys definitely. If people are saying they're not a championship contender, then I don't know who is outside of us. I feel like they're the best of like they would be my clear cut number 2 right now. I definitely feel like if they can put together their S&D, they could definitely beat anybody. It's just putting together at least one of the other 2 modes because I think they're okay at control, but you got to be more consistent if your S&D is at 2 and 4.
Agreed. I think it's time. It's time, Omar, get that up on the screen. We're going to do our full bracket predictions. We'll go through. There's 3 of us, so if we need to do a tiebreaker, we can make it happen. But yeah, well, let me know when we can see it on the screen. I know you'll kind of do a little bit of a scuffed version because if you do the proper official pick and one, then it just looks a bit ugly, you know. And so it's up there, yeah. Lovely jubbly. So, I mean, wow, we have some banging matches right here. There's no doubt about it. The winners bracket is absurd, and the losers bracket is going to be pretty ridiculous as well, especially by the Saturday when we get into these. I mean, yeah, so Thursday is the winners games, Friday's the losers games, and then Saturday goes pretty insane when we've got winners, losers. The winners final is now on Sunday as well, I'm seeing, which is exciting. So the winners final is not played on. Do you like that, Austin? What's your thought? I forget which one you like. Do you like that or not like? No, you like that, don't you? Because it means if you come for winners, you're warmed up.
Yes. You need to have winners finals on Sunday. If you don't, then the team coming from especially now, because what is the veto advantage? Let's be honest here. There is no veto advantage. Anybody coming through the winners bracket, they get a crisp high 5 after they win. So you have to have that winners final on Sunday. I actually love that they did on Friday. I call it elimination day. It's 5 straight elimination matches, so 5 teams will get knocked out in a row. I think that's savage. Like I feel like that's just like they're just constantly just waving goodbye to teams. I think that's kind of cool. Obviously Thursday will be like the first round matchups. I like that a lot. Saturday you'll have 5 matches. I think that's pretty crazy. You'll have 5 matches on Saturday. It'll be all like action packed. I'm all for that as well. So yeah, I'm really excited with how they did the scheduling and format.
Yeah, I'm excited. Shall we hop into it?
We can hop right into it. Let's start with winners. Let's take it from the top. FaZe Breach. I mean, look, I can only see this going one way. This, to me, is the clearest cup winners game. I don't even need to give my prediction. Austin doesn't need to give his prediction. Lion, what do you think?
Come on, mate.
I mean, look, what do you want to do? Do we want to try and do map count here, or do we just want to say he wins? Because the fact of the matter is, we're never going to get the map count right over the course of the bracket. Getting the bracket right is going to be impossible anyway. So we might as well say FaZe are going to win, and then we'll talk next series. We'll give it to FaZe. Don't think we need too many more words on that one. They're the number 1 team. Breach right now, upset potential, but I can't see them getting past FaZe in this situation, especially on LAN, rookies. It's going to be a tough road for them. Then we've got OpTic Surge. This is one I'm really excited for. I still think the OpTic should be favourites here, no doubt, especially if they play how they did. They're in front of the big crowd. I don't think Surge are going to be as affected by that environment as other teams are. Talking to Pred a couple of days ago, he didn't feel like it was going to affect him. If anything, he revels in the opportunity to play in that environment. I think that Sib might be a similar guy as well. Mac, you know, of course, he's been there and done this for quite a long time at this point. If Surge can bounce back, I mean, Pred even reckon they got a bit complacent after their great start to the season and a bit of a wake-up call the last couple of weeks for them that they weren't where they need to be. The problem is, if you're not where you need to be in the last 2 weeks and now you play OpTic, who have really hit their stride, it's going to be tough. I can see this one going 3-1 OpTic, but that's my take. I still think Surge have something here, though. They've got something in them. I just don't think they've got quite enough. It's like Pred and Sib impressed me so much right at the start of the year, but now FaZe, I don't know, I could kind of compare the 2 teams just because the way the star talents were playing was similar. There was like Cell and Abizi, and then there was like Pred and Sib, and after 2 weeks or so, Pred and Sib fall off a cliff statistically, and Cell and Abizi are still where they are. And that's just what creates dominant team over time. You know.
You want me to go first, or you, Austin?
Yeah, you go. Yeah.
Oh man, I can imagine Seattle getting this done, in my opinion, and I think OpTics, they have a real, for the last year or so, struggle getting out of winners round one. Wasn't it true that they only won one winners round match last year?
Wait, that's been a thing for a minute.
They win any winners round one, actually? Did they win a single winners round one? I guess they must have done.
They won one. They won one. But think about this, actually. That has been actually a thing with them for as long as I can remember. Even during the Dynasty, they would have days where they just come on the first match out of pools and just lose. I would just be like, what the hell? Like, do you guys remember that?
Back in the Dynasty, I swear it was more they would lose. Yeah, they would lose in groups.
First round of groups.
First two matches or first match really badly, and then they'll come out. I feel like it was more in the CDL era where they just struggle in the bracket. But that's because
slow starts didn't cost them when there was groups at the weekend.
Yeah, because they were
cost you.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think I can imagine Seattle surprising them because they're going to come out with the fire. I think Pred will revel in the fact that he's playing in front of 5,000 OpTic fans, and I think they're going to win. And I don't, because I'm on their side because Pred's the only ANZ player, but I've been an OpTic fan for 8 years, so it's like I don't know how to feel about this, but I can see it happening. What do you reckon? You be the tiebreaker.
Damn, man, you put it on me.
Sorry, bro.
Okay. I can see where Seattle could win this. If Seattle was just on a little bit of a better form going into this, I would take them. I still probably am leaning towards OpTic just because this is their major, and right now it's like the tale of two endings. Like Seattle looked like really not hot coming out of that. And in all honesty, they kind of lucked out with two clutches in around 11, where they probably should not have won to get out of they would have been 1-4 if they lose that. My gut is telling me Seattle. Like when we do the pick'ems, I'm probably gonna pick Seattle because I just feel like until OpTic proves that they can win winners round one matches. But for this, I'm gonna go Texas just because I think it would be horrible if OpTic loses their first matchup at their own major after struggling for so many first round matches last year.
I'm just willing phase OpTic into existence, to be honest.
It seems like the worst thing possible always does happen to OpTic, though.
I know. And I think, do they play first or no? I think on the schedule they play last.
They play last, which is great. What? I have to stay up late.
Yeah.
Yeah, they play last.
Oh, they do. You're right.
So, I think that gives them more time to prepare, get the jitters out, and especially for a first round match for two rookies. Even though I think they've both played in LAN before, I feel like this one might be a test to how far they've grown already. But I'm still gonna go Texas. I think it's gonna be map 5 either way.
Okay.
I mean, OpTic take that. We'll give it to them just about. I agree. I think it's a closer series than a lot of people are expecting. But I don't know. I saw something in OpTic this last week that makes me think they're going to edge out a close one. Okay, lower side of the winners bracket. I'm biased here. I'm really bullish on the Ravens. But I am concerned that the only team they lost to in the regular stage was the Los Angeles Grillers. So the bracket they end up getting is rematching against the only team that they failed to beat. And that was an interesting series. They lost the first two maps closely, won the control, and then got kind of outplayed on a Berlin hardpoint. And I was talking to Gizmo, and he said, look, that was just the worst series I've played in ages. If he plays to his normal level, he reckons they win that. I think they'll go back to the drawing board and take this series against LAG. I am somewhat nervous, though, kind of for the London guys, because I know that LAG, in theory, probably should even get better on LAN. So I think this is a tough one. I think London are going to win this game 5. But, what do you reckon, Lion?
Yeah, I predicted them to win this tournament. But seeing this matchup and thinking about it makes it tough for me to follow through with that. But I will stick with my gut and pick London. I think they've just got enough. Austin.
Yeah, I still think London. I think it's going to be a battle of the hard points. And when I try to think of how the vetoes are going to go, because I think London's the first team, so they have the veto advantage. I think London will probably take this 3-1, but again, it's going to come down to whoever comes out sharper in the hard points.
I'm on the boys. I'm feeling optimistic here. We're predicting London. I hope. I've got a hot take about London. It's not as hot as Lions' take though. Lions got a hot take about London. I've got a hot take about London. We'll get into that. Okay, so we're taking Ravens over Gorillas. Then we've got. I think I'm not sure if this is the most interesting. It probably is the most interesting actually. There's a lot of good matches, but LA Thieves Ultra has got to be right up there. Probably the best of the bunch, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, this is an absolute cracker because these guys have already played at the. Well, they didn't play last week, did they? But they played at the kickoff when Ultra took them game 5.
They played last week.
Yeah, did they play last week?
Yeah, and LA took it 3-1.
Of course, yeah, because the map won Bacage, all the drama about yeah. I don't know why I was blanking out about that. But yeah, you're right. So they've now they're 1-1 in their series so far. Ultra won the one on LAN, but Ultra had a really tough last couple of weeks. But I'm interested to see what happens to Ultra here because I don't think they're favourites in this series. I think that Thieves and the hardpoints have been really good. I wouldn't be surprised if Ultra just won this game 5, but I don't think they're winning it any easier than game 5, which makes me think that I have to favour Thieves just about, even if it's just a 55-45, which does also make me think though, because Ultra have never placed outside of the top 3 with this team, and I feel like this is going to be the first weekend that happens, because if they do lose here, which they might well do, they're going to have a hell of a run, and don't get me wrong, they kind of did that before at Major 2 last year, but still, I'm not convinced. I think Thieves are going to take this 3-1. If it goes game 5, I want to take Ultra, but I don't see Toronto winning this any more convincingly than a game 5, which, I don't know, tough for me to do, but I think the Thieves get the job done here.
Yeah, I can't see Thieves beating Toronto in 2 S&Ds. So I feel like, regardless, it's going to be 3-1. And then if Toronto steal a respawn, I think they're going to take the series. So it really depends on Thieves being flawless in respawn. And I don't think they're going to come out the gates and do that. So I'm going to take Ultra 3-2 and leave it up to Austin again to decide the winner.
Off you go, Austin. Have fun.
Yeah. I'm still going Thieves.
I like
right
going
now.
first.
Yeah, right. I'm in this situation again. I'm going Thieves again. Right now, I think Thieves is the better hardpoint team, and then last time they played, Thieves actually took the S&D and control, which tells me a lot. Going into that series, Thieves I think were 1-4 in S&D and took that S&D. So that tells me that this isn't the final form of Toronto. I bet you this is 50% of what they were last year, 50% of their maximum potential right now. I think they're going to get a lot better during the season. Right now, obviously, Cammy got sick. They had to use a sub. They were over in Europe for a while, so I don't think that they're the most practiced team throughout the last month and a half. So I want to give them more time to develop. Right now, I feel like Thieves are too hot, a little bit too hot for them. So I'm gonna go Thieves, probably 3-1 again. I would give Toronto probably the S&D, but I think LA Thieves are gonna take both of the hard points. I don't think you'll see Bocage control in this series or Bocage hard point.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. LA Thieves get the W in there, Omar. Let's go down to losers, and we'll reverse the order here. So I have to do the tiebreakers if there are any, and then we'll make Lion do the tiebreakers for the next set of matches we do on the Saturday. So these are now Friday's games. So Mutineers will play Boston in our bracket. That would be the battle of the 8th versus 9th seed. Take it away, Austin.
So we're doing Boston, Florida first?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm... Florida is the most one day they come out and they're amazing, and then the next because right now Boston's strength was S&D. Is that still their strength? They lost the last 3 of them. I don't know anymore. That was what was winning them series, you would argue. So right now, I would have to go Florida. I think Florida is going to take this probably 3-1. I feel like they're going to steal a couple of maps that are really close, and that's what's going to make the real change. Boston just really needs to get their S&D back, and they really need they are the worst control team. I don't know why. They get. I've seen way too many 8 and 25s on that map by them, so they just have to get that under control. And until then, I think Florida is the better team right now.
It's you, Lion. You're on mute though, by the way, so it's okay. Hit that unmute button. Hit the unmute
he's
button.
muted.
Hit the unmute button. We're back.
All right. I think Boston came out really hot and they looked really good preseason. It just seems like their momentum slowed down quite a lot. And Florida, as of late, seemed to be on the up. And so, in my opinion, I can't see any other outcome than Florida smoking them 3-0.
You guys both picked Florida, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, fantastic news. I was going to pick Florida as well, to be honest. I think that I feel like this team is always good for at least one win in the lower bracket. They'll win one, and then they'll probably lose next. That's just how it works.
3-0 spanking, and then like followed by like a disappointing, just like what happened series.
They're good for like just taking a team like Boston down, but then just getting smoked next series. So okay, we'll take Florida winning that and moving on, and then they will play the winner of Seattle and Paris. I mean, take it away, Austin. I'm sure this is going to be a challenging one.
Yeah, this is probably going to be one of the quicker series. 3-0. Even though honeymoon periods are pretty awesome. Honeymoon periods are pretty awesome, but I just don't see. I don't see Paris really being 100% there, and I feel like Seattle is going to be hungry if they do lose to Texas. This is going to be one of those matches where they're pissed off and just ready to start running through teams. So I definitely have Paris 3-0 or Seattle 3-0 there.
Agreed. I'm gonna try not to roast Pat. I had the chance, but I'm not going to. Gonna hold my tongue. But they're going out top 12. Okay, we move on. We've got LAG Rocker. Spicy rematch here because they just played each other, and Rocker won a game 5, but LAG probably should have won that series. And I still feel like LAG might be the better team because Rocker, like, it's kind of what I said with Toronto in the LA Thieves series, which I might be wrong about, but I just can't see Rocker winning this not in a game 5. Like, if they win this, it's going to be game 5, which is like, but LAG could win this game 5 or game 4. Or maybe even game 3. So it just makes me think in terms of percentages, I have to go LAG. Even if it goes game 5, Rocker, I think, are favourites. I really, this series annoys me because I just feel like it's going game 5 and Rocker win. But I don't want to predict that because Rocker just annoy me as a team because they always make the matches go late. So out of spite, I'm going to pick LAG, even though it wasn't me to go first. So it's you, Austin.
So I'm going to have to agree with you. I feel like this is the Minnesota team that is not in their best form. It's just like Toronto kind of. I feel like LAG is definitely the better hardpoint team, which is going to probably net them 2 wins in the series. And they just have to either steal an S&D. A gut tells me it's going to be Berlin S&D map 5. There's like gut feeling. That's what I feel right now.
I know, it will be.
LAG is going to take it 3-2, I think.
You're taking LAG 3-2?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I can't see it not going game 5. Like, that's just, these two teams match up really well, but they're really good at like opposing game modes. So I think, I reckon Rocker game 5, even though that makes no difference to the bracket. But my gut is telling me Rocker game 5.
I don't blame you. I always kind of feel that as well, but I will go with LAG. I mean, we'll see how the rest of the bracket plays out. Okay, so LAG progressed there. We then have LA Thieves Toronto lose with that one, being Toronto the way we did it against New York. What do you think here, Austin? Like, do you think Toronto will bounce back in a similar way to how we predicted Seattle to do? Or can New York actually do something? Because they're a scary team to face, in fairness. Like, just the players. I don't know if they're actually scary, is the issue.
Thing is when you can't win a hard point, I don't think you can win a match. You can't win a series. So if you're going to be 0-9 in hard point, you just really can't have too much optimism going into this. Toronto's strength too right now, you could still argue, is probably S&D in control. Like, that's where I would put their strengths at, and that just makes it even worse. Like, that just means Toronto's has the advantage or is near advantage in almost all modes. So I would have to go 3-1 Toronto here after Toronto's lost upper bracket.
To me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Exactly the same. I got nothing more to add.
It's agreed. Just good opinions, boys.
Yeah, New York aren't looking like they could really put up much of a fight. And do we know yet if Neptune's back or not? Because that hasn't been discussed.
Nah, I don't think he's back yet. But maybe after the major, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, cool. So let's head back up to the winners bracket. Lion can be the decider this time if needed. And so first up in the winners, we've got OpTic FaZe. I mean, here we go, boys. It's time. Hopefully this happens. I'd say there's like a 60% chance this happens, 65% chance. Hopefully it does. It's been a lot. Like, when's the last time we saw this matchup on LAN? I'm struggling to remember because I don't think it happened last year on LAN.
Nope.
And it didn't happen Modern Warfare. So the last time would have been
PO4.
when Scump 1v1 Celium.
That's so. Is that if that's actually true? That's
I think
insane.
I think we played them at
Maybe, like early Modern Warfare, like the Atlanta Home Series or Los Angeles Home Series, maybe.
No, because we lost to Minnesota on that one.
I don't know, man.
And then they weren't at Atlanta. We weren't at London.
Anaheim 2019.
I think Anaheim. I think they beat us at Anaheim.
Yeah.
Maybe there is a more recent one.
Yeah, but not on LAN.
Yeah, not on LAN. Not in a bracket either. We've played a bunch in group stages. Because they were just always in our group, but
on LAN, yeah. I mean, that's insane. So OpTic FaZe in front of the crowd, man. I've really got a tough call predicting this because FaZe should be the favourites. I think I have to go FaZe just because on the whole, I think they have a better chance to win the series. Like, the crowd pressure won't get to them. OpTic still, I think, have a little bit to prove in terms of they can actually take down FaZe. They beat you guys, of course, last year in the regular stage, and that seemed to be like a massive victory for them. But I think like OpTic, they're gonna feel the pressure this series. The OpTic guys, like they know what they're up against, and we'll see if their kind of ability to withhold the pressure is going to maintain because like. OpTic, if they're going to win this series, they're going to have to win it in a game 5. And I just think that FaZe should be favored in game 5 right now. Too much composure. But I think it's going to be a close series. I'm hoping for a close one, but I just think FaZe, until proven otherwise, are just the better team. So I'm going to keep the takes pretty mild for now. What do you think, Austin? Lion gets tiebreaker, but I don't think he'll need it this time.
Yeah, obviously I'm going to pick my team. I think this will be a lot closer than people predict, though, because... Actually, no. I feel like everyone's gonna have this pretty close, but right now Texas is re-strengthening their S&D. I think we can say because they didn't have the strongest S&D performance, obviously, to start. So we're pretty even in all modes. I think this is going to come down to the controls, which has been OpTic's strong suit. If we can take that, then this is going to be a little bit closer of a series in our favor. So I'll probably go 3-2. I think it's going to be a little bit closer, but yeah, that's where I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, I think 3-2 as well, just to kind of not rile too many feathers. I think my gut is telling me, honestly, 3-0 FaZe. Just, because they're that good. But I'll say 3-2 FaZe to be kind.
Your gut is just telling you that OpTic lose every series. We'll see if that continues. Okay.
So bad. No, I don't hate OpTic. They're my second... No, they're actually my favorite team. I just have very little faith because over the last 5 years, they've broken my heart so many times. I was at Champs 2016. I saw them on Stronghold. You don't understand.
No. We don't talk about that one.
Yeah, we also have veto advantage in that.
That's a good point.
So
that's pretty important, actually.
Yeah, look, especially right now, if you want to see a breakdown of why it's so important, not even the control, but for hard points, Doug Lieb, his Twitter, I forget what his actual @ is. He's the LAG analyst. He breaks it down.
Doug Lieb.
Yeah, I think so, right? He breaks down why it's actually a bigger advantage in hardpoint right now. So it's tough, but I definitely think it's going to be one of the more harder fought series in this entire bracket, honestly.
Spicy one. The other side of the bracket. This is where things get beautiful, hopefully. London versus LA Thieves we've got. This is a super matchup. Really looking forward to this one. I don't know what I think, because I think Thieves on LAN probably should win, but I'm going to pick London anyway. I'm going to say that they go to a game 5. They show incredible grit and composure. I just think these series are so insane that we're probably going to see some crazy 3-0s this weekend that you wouldn't expect. But
100%.
Like, it's just you see one of these, you see a series like this, you think it's got to like surely it's got a game 5 on it, but maybe it's at 3 either way. Sometimes that's just how these things happen, but because sometimes you get crazy close 3-0s as we've seen the last few weeks or so. But yeah, I've got faith in London this weekend. I feel like they're super confident. Gizmo was talking to me about the way their chemistry is on another level. I feel like Thieves is a similar team in that sense. So this is like as coin flip as it gets to me between these two squads. Online, I would probably favour London slightly right now, which makes me think on LAN, it's probably a coin toss. But, you know, come on. It's the first time London have ever had an actual team that looks competitive from the start of the year. So I've got to be confident, you know?
Do you want to go Austin or me?
Yeah, because we're gonna need you. Because I think like right now I would put more confidence in Thieves, just because like I think these two teams are probably two of the top 4 teams. I think it's gonna be a battle, but to use Doug's words, I just want to see London play as good on LAN as they did online. Like I feel like their hard point is really interesting to me because they don't rotate as much. They're super break heavy. I want to see how that plays on LAN. Like if they can continue that on LAN, that's going to be amazing. That they're going to be really scary. But right now, like their rotation percentage is at like 35, so they're really not rotating that heavy. They're focusing on their breaks. They're doing really well in their breaks, and that's why they're when you are winning breaks, you're more likely to have to break the next hill, and that's why it compounds, and that's why we see them. But I do want to see if that playstyle works on LAN. If it does, like crazy. But usually, when you use that playstyle, you got to have better gunning than the other team or be like the hot hand. I don't know if that's going to come to fruition against LA Thieves. I feel like that's going to be a battle of different approaches in hardpoint, and I really think LA Thieves might have the upper hand on that front.
No, you managed to mute yourself, I think, even though you tried to unmute yourself.
I went from not muted to muted.
Yeah,
honestly, I agree with you, Austin, and I do think LA Thieves will win. But
I'm sorry, Rab. The boys.
No.
You think you've got a lot of win the event, haven't you? You have to take them.
I know. That's it. I think Thieves will win.
Let's go.
But London's gonna win.
Come on, that's what I'm talking about, baby.
Just so I don't eat my words. London's gonna win.
Yeah, I like this prediction. It's honestly a really interesting series though, because London do have the higher seed, right? I think they're second seed, so they do have that kind of veto advantage here, which might make a difference in terms of, you know, what control they get to pick and that, because they probably will go Tuscan control, which I think is it depends what they do. I mean, Thieves are good at GRVTY, but they're good at GRVTY hardpoint. I don't know what they'll do in control, but still, it gives them maybe a slight edge here that maybe will go in their favor. And in fairness, I think their Search and Destroy has been really solid. They just need to win a hardpoint or a control, and I think that London will take this game 5. But and shout out Line for supporting the boys. So that then leaves us with, in the lowers bracket, let's just kind of run through the lower bracket here. So say that again, Omar. We got London going through. Beautiful stuff. Cool. So losers bracket, we have got Florida versus Seattle. Interesting series. I feel like I've got to give it to Seattle. I feel like Mutineers are just that team that they managed to win 1 round and then they just throw it away. But don't know. What do we think?
3-0 Seattle.
Wait, sorry, I was blanking out. What was the matchup?
Seattle,
Florida in the lower bracket. Oh, yeah. In fairness, Florida did just come through and 3-0 them like last week.
I think this matchup will be on Friday night, because one of the losers round 2 will be Friday night and the other one will be Saturday morning. Coming off of a win.
According to this bracket, this says it's Saturday morning.
Okay, then I definitely go Seattle 3-0. Because then if it was Friday night, then Florida's on a little bit of a high. There's a higher chance they carry that on. Coming in on Saturday, I actually like Florida, like individually, gun skill wise. I feel like there's a lot of bright pieces there. But I feel like Seattle's going to come just like, if they lose that round 1 matchup, it's just going to be like they're going to be hella focused to continue just smashing teams to prove that they are not like in a slump, you know. So I definitely feel like I would go Seattle 3-0 there.
Yeah, agreed. I can't see Florida going back to back, and I know that's just real harsh, but that's proven over the last year and a half. So
and Florida did just 3-0 them. You're right, DNA. But like Florida is literally the weirdest team because of the way they play. They're very gun skill heavy, like challenge oriented. If they are firing on all cylinders that day, they could beat any team. But if they are like just not feeling it that day, like some of their challenges, they're not winning their 50-50s, right? It's just like it's not gonna be there, and that's why I think like they're gonna look great against Boston. I wouldn't be shocked if like Awakening has a 1.7, and then they're gonna go up against Seattle, and then I feel like Seattle is not a team that's gonna give them the free picks that they want. I feel like Seattle's gonna be really in their face and not let them really get their setups right, and that's gonna probably on land. I don't know. I just feel like Seattle's gonna have that edge there.
Yep. So we take Seattle winning that one. The other side of the losers one, this is, as you said, Austin, the match that happens Friday night, is going to be LAG versus Toronto, according to our bracket. Again, interesting match. I just think that Toronto, they're just this type of team that I don't see them going out this early. I don't think they're going to get top 3 this event, but I think that they will do better than top 8. So I have them taking on LAG. Again, I kind of want to say like a 3-1 here, actually. I think that Toronto will catch a little bit of a fire and won't require a game 5. But yeah, I don't know if it's. I don't think that's even EU bias speaking, to be honest, at this point.
Me or you?
I got Toronto 3-1 or 3-2. I feel like LAG again probably gonna win both hard points, but I actually have Toronto just better in the S&Ds there, so that's why I'll give it to them there.
Yeah, I think Toronto do their best work in the losers bracket when their backs are up against the wall, so I can see them, Anyway, I see them smoking them. 3-0.
Wow, let's go. I like that some bold 3-0 calls right here. The calls are going to get bolder. So, okay, so those matchups go through. That means that we have to go back to the winners, don't we? I'm trying to visualize how this bracket looks in my head right now, even though I could just bring it up from what I almost got on the stream. Let's do winners finals. Or should we do the other one first, actually? Can you just screenshot the bracket as it's on the stream, Omar, and chuck it in the chat so I can see it? Because I'm trying to remember what we did by looking at this bracket here. But maybe should we continue lower, or are we at the point to do that? Or do we have to do winners finals yet?
Whatever you want.
We can do lower.
Just waiting for Omar to see the screenshot.
Yeah, all good. That's fine. So, okay. So out of the winners bracket, we had LA Thieves dropping down. Well, that's an absolutely phenomenal screenshot over. I cannot see anything. That's fine. I think I remember what's going on. So let's look at the other side. So we had OpTic dropping down, and like where do they drop actually? Does the bracket flip, or do they drop on the top side? If you can, I could just bring up the stream, to be honest, at this point. I should have had it ready to go. I thought I'd be able to remember it in my head. But it's fine.
Context,
I'll bring it up on the
Omar
stream.
sent us the blurriest photo of the bracket.
It's all good. We're back. We're back in business, boys. So OpTic play Toronto. That's how it will go. Now that is that's a banger. Yeah, that makes sense. The bracket flips. Do low until you need the winners finals outcome. That is a good point, Roosevelt. So OpTic play Toronto. This is like the ultimate match on LAN. This is like the classic one where OpTic lose last year. They'll lose a 3-2, and that's just how it goes. Now, this year, is it a different story? I feel like it might be a different story this time. I feel like this OpTic team is different to last year. That previous OpTic team was cursed to never make a grand finals. I think this year's team is different. I think they're going to show it here. I don't think Ultra are on the best form. I think OpTic are the better team right now. And even though it's LAN, OpTic are gonna somehow win the game 5, and then they're just going to be hyper confident for the rest of the tournament. That's my call.
I agree. I can see them winning. Honestly, this matchup. I was a bit harsh on them earlier, but I think if they get to this point in the tournament, they're going to be running hot, and I can't see a somewhat wounded Toronto team beating them in 2 respawns or, So I take OpTic.
I'm going to be a little bit blunt. I think OpTic wins this 3-0. I feel like OpTic's got a chip on their shoulder because obviously they broke a GA in the first series, whether it was obviously on accident, but they still broke it. I feel like they're going to have a chip on their shoulder to show like we would have still 3-0'd and still looked amazing even without that. And I feel like that's why they're going to come out, start really hot in the hard point, and then just continue it. I feel like, again, I feel like you could probably argue they're the best control team right now. And that's why, like, if you're good at control, you just shut the door. You don't let them the open it if you start off hot. So I feel like probably going to be a close like 3-0 here. I feel like it'll probably be like 250, 230, 6-5, and then like a 3-0 in the control.
Yeah.
Quite the call. The other side of the losers bracket, LA Thieves, Seattle. This is really interesting. To me, LA Thieves are the better team. I think the Seattle are going to have a decent run. They get a decent placing. They come top 6, which I think is what they deserve. But I think Thieves are just a better squad. They'll take this one 3-1. They'll show why they're the best hardpoint team in the game right now, and prove it on land. So yeah, Thieves 3-1 for me.
I'm going to take Seattle just to put Austin in a sticky situation again.
Let's go. I love
it. This team is they're very young, especially like Pred's aggression on LAN. I feel like when they get momentum, they're going to be similar to OpTic. They're going to carry it on like very hot. So I can see Pred getting extremely hyped on the stage and taking this one 3-0.
Well,
yeah, bloody hell, let's go.
My gut tells me LA Thieves because I feel like right now they are a little bit better hardpoint than this team. But what is swaying me is in the Twitch chat. It is very clear 93% LA Thieves. Like that's actually 93%. That's actually crazy. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go LA Thieves too. I feel like it's gonna be
94%.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-2 here though. I feel like it's gonna be really close, but unfortunately, I think Envoy is gonna just be. I feel like this is the series where you're just gonna see a crazy Envoy just come out and drop like MVP numbers.
Good stuff. Omar's on the grind. That leaves us with OpTic Thieves rematch, baby. Yeah, Thieves win that, Omar. That leaves us with the OpTic Thieves rematch. Now, this is for what is going on this website? Okay, we made it. We made it work. This is for top 3. So we've got Seattle top 6, Toronto top 6. I honestly quite like the way this leaves the placings. That leaves OpTic Thieves. This is a rematch from the kickoff where OpTic are obviously not at their best. Thieves, I think, have improved since then as well. This is a real grudge match. I feel like this is going game 5. But I kind of agree with what we talked about earlier, that I don't think that Thieves' Search and Destroy has been good enough to show me that they're going to be able to win a series like this. And with the crowd there and everything, I'm going to take OpTic 3-2. I think they just about get the better of Thieves. Thieves win one of the hard points and... Well, I don't know. Maybe they win both the hard points, actually, and OpTic 2-3-5 it, just the way that this might end up. Because I feel like the control will go... Even the OpTic are actually the lowest seed to Thieves, so Thieves will get to choose the control, which might be pivotal, but I still think that OpTic are the better control team anyway, so I think they end up splitting the first 4 maps and OpTic win the game 5.
I agree.
You go, Austin?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to take Texas there 3-2. I feel like the control is actually going to be way closer than people think because it will probably be Tuscan. And, I feel like that's LA Thieves' best control right now. And I think that's also OpTic. So that would be a little bit of a slugfest. But I agree. Like right now, OpTic's turning the corner in S&D. I feel like they're a little bit more confident. That's important, especially going into your own land. And in a hardpoint, I feel like this is going to be a battle of can you contain Envoy? If not, like maybe Thieves can take it, but I still got to go Texas here 3-2.
Yeah, I agree. But if we look back at the history, OpTic versus LA on LAN, I believe it's 3-1 or 100 Thieves back in Black Ops 4. It's 3-1 100 Thieves. And so, and also actually when we count this year, it's 4-1 because they.
Good point.
So,
that's actually crazy.
Yeah, I think. Oh man, that's tough. I mean, I don't make a difference anyway because you guys have both picked OpTic. But
It's a tough series.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree 3-2 OpTic, but I would not be surprised either way at all. This series is so close, and there's a lot of history there with Envoy being on OpTic last year, which is storylines we'd love to see. But yeah, I think OpTic just get this done.
Spicy team. So we then get FaZe London in the winners finals. This is on, as we have it, Sunday morning. So just beautiful stuff. Look, I know I want London to win this. I can't see it happening this particular series. I don't know about the grand finals, we'll see. But FaZe have the better seeding. They get to pick the control. And at this point, London, I don't know, the way I'm thinking about it in my head is like London will get to this point and think like part of their head will be telling them, look, even if we lose, like we had a crazy good tourney, we got top 3 at minimum, like, you know, there'll be an element of that in their head where they're already thinking, you know, if we take the L, it's not the end of the world. And that might play as a factor here. I know they'll also still be super motivated, but FaZe still have a lot to prove. I mean, they're coming this year. You guys want to stay undefeated. And I'm not sure London are going to have quite enough in this series. I think the FaZe will end up winning it like 3-1. London drop to losers. I'll throw it to Lion first because I don't know how you're going to predict this bracket to go, whether you think London are winning through losers or through winners. So it's time to make the decision.
Yeah. So I can't see London winning the series at all. Just like the last year. I can't see them winning at all. Just get that clear. But London are going to win this series.
There's always a percentage chance. You got to think about it. There's always a percentage chance.
There is.
Sometimes it comes off.
Of course. Maybe some gunfights go the wrong way. FaZe get a little bit antsy. Austin, they get a little bit nervous, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
The boys are shaking. They see Afro on the other side of the stage. This guy's dropping a 1.4.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I get it clear. I don't see that happening, but it's going to happen. Yet again, London straight through. Easy.
I'll abstain my vote, and I'll go with the poll, which was 7-5 us still. So like that's
7-5.
Yeah, it was 7. Yeah, it was close. So I'll say 3-2. I definitely feel like you know, the hard points are going to be a test because sometimes we can kind of get a little bit trolly with our holds, which is something, again, London are one of the best breaking teams. They don't rotate as heavy, so that could play into their strength if we're not playing as well as we should be on our holds, which quite honestly, we have been looking phenomenal in practice, but I'm sure every team's going to say that going into this, but I actually feel very confident. It reminds me of champs last year. You know how we actually lost stage 5 and everyone was just like, it was crazy. That's kind of like how like the kickoff reminded me. It's like we got kicked in the teeth there. It fucking stung. We played like ass. We were playing really badly, even during the Paris match. And then like you find like just a little bit of not motivation. You find a little bit of momentum, and it just starts snowballing. I feel like that's where we're at right now. So I feel very, very confident going into this. So I would say still 3-2. I would give London probably. I feel like they could steal a control, and they probably could steal a hard point. So that's what I would give it to them. They're a super tough matchup for anybody.
Yeah, every time you have said that you guys are going to come out hot and look good in practice, you've like come and won the event. Like I think it's like 3 for 3. So yeah, I mean, just put that in there.
That's actually a good point, to be fair. Yeah, it's scary.
I try to be as non-biased as possible. Like when we're not looking too hot, I'll say we look like ass. But like, I'm actually like, it's just the confidence on the map. Once you start, I feel like this game is so confidence heavy. Like if you don't think you're gonna win that gunfight and you're backing away, you're not playing that hot. It affects you way more than you think. So right now, it's just I feel good. I feel good. But now I'm just gonna jinx myself.
Yeah, I mean, like when Simp's tweeting out they're feeling confident, it's basically over for the competition. Okay, FaZe win this series. They make the grand finals. So FaZe guaranteed top 2. We have just quick rundown the teams that win on the far left hand side. On the bottom, they're top 12. Then it goes top 8, top 6, LA Thieves top 4. Then we have to decide our third place team in this series. Now, this is a rematch of the game we saw in the second week. And it's London, Texas, baby. I mean, it's London versus OpTic. Of course, the first time we saw these guys play online, it was a reverse sweep. London made it work. They lost 2 very close game 1, game 2. They lost to Bacage, Hardpoint, like 190, 180. They lost was it a Berlin search on the game 2? I think it was a Berlin search round 11. Yeah, because it was 0. Should have checked the bomb. With Illy was there. Then they win the next 3 straight and win it. Now, I was very impressed with this series at the time. I still think my hot take here is that London win this again, game 5. I'm not convinced it's going to happen, but I think it's going to happen because I think OpTic are going to come out at this point, and I don't know. There's going to be something in OpTic's head that tells them, look, we're basically there. We've made it all the way back to the grand finals, and there's an element of their head that's going to tell them, like, London, we should be able to take them down. Like, there's just that kind of instinctual thing that tells you that London shouldn't be a very good team. But little do they know that not only are they good in search and destroy, but they've also got insane slaying power in all of the respawns, and they have the highest seed in this series, which may come into play. That is a factor we've got to consider this weekend in terms of choosing controls and picking vetoes and stuff like that, because they are the second seed. So, my hot take is London are coming top 2 at this event, and they're beating OpTic here. They're going to take this 3. OpTic don't tend to lose 3-1 in these type of series. That London are going to win 3-2. I think these guys have more composure than they get credit for. And I'm still not 100% sold on OpTic's revival. So yeah, London 3-2.
Wait, I'm not doing tiebreaker on this. I'm doing OpTic 3-2. I feel like this is gonna be one of those series that they grind out. Last year they would have lost this. I feel like every time they were in one of these situations, they had Toronto in their way and they would end up losing it. I feel like this is like one of those redemptions. It's their stadium, their major. They're probably fans going freaking crazy. So I have to go Texas 3-2 here. So Lion, you get the shitty tiebreaker.
Lion's saying already. Let's get it.
Yeah, I mean,
put it in.
My favorite team. Everyone knows this, but I can't. London's way too good.
London's way too good. It's true.
Best team right now. So it's such a terrible take because I genuinely think OpTic will win the series.
Stand by it, Lion. Stand by
it. I am a man of my word, as we've said this whole bracket, and I'm going with London yet again. I'm British for the week.
Come on. London to the grand finals. The real Tory Lanes in the chat is down bad right now as London make it through.
I didn't do it.
3. Good first event for them, but not good enough because London are just on top. And then a rematch of our winners finals in the grand finals. Again, I think FaZe are going to win. It's a best of 9. I don't think London have quite as deep enough map pool that they're going to need. There's probably going to be another 4 search and destroys in here, which London good in search, don't get me wrong, but I just think that FaZe, the consistency is too strong. They're going to do exactly what they did last year and lose at the kickoff and come out and win the first 9 series in a row. And take this tournament. I think they're going to win it 5-3. I think London are going to be respectable. They're going to put on a good showing. They're going to come out and say, look, we made it a good run. We're going to come back stronger for next tournament. And they're going to, they're going to shut the whole world up, including real Tory Lanes. Or I'm going to get shut up, which I can also accept.
I'll go. So Austin's the tiebreaker. No, I think we both know where this game is going to go if it does happen. And you guys got to remember these are predictions. It's not actually what will happen.
It will happen.
Oh, it will?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, we know where I'm going. So, over to you, Austin. Who's going to win the event?
There we go. It's a tiebreaker. What's the FaZe analyst going to say?
Well, after the league gives us a crisp high 5 for coming out of the winners bracket, it's going to be tough with that strong advantage. Hands are going to be warm. But to the point, I like.
Not bad.
I think there's going to be 4 S&Ds in this if it goes by last year's format. I will say if it's 3, it's going to be 4 or 5 respawns. Yeah, 5 respawns, 4 S&Ds.
4 S&Ds. There's barely enough maps to even make it work.
I'll say we probably split the respawns. I feel like it would probably go 2-3. I'll give London the advantage there, and I'll give them like that. I feel like the S&Ds is where it's going to be a little bit of a. I feel really strongly in our S&D right now. I feel like that's going to be our best mode of this major. I feel like you're going to see probably a 5-3. So pretty confident in that.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, and it's 16-4 for the poll. So that would be the tiebreaker is the poll. So it wasn't me. It was the poll.
Well, there we go. I actually really like this bracket. I think there's a good mix here of some hot takes, a dark horse team, but also some sensible opinions. And I think, like, look, we've gone for London as a bit of a dark horse run. I kind of wanted to join forces, relying on that one to make our bracket a little bit more interesting than it could have been. And, you know, if it happens, we look like geniuses. If it doesn't happen, who cares? There's always Major 2. So that's the bracket. And we've got FaZe winning it. I kind of just wanted to get your guys' take real quick before we close out the episode. Dark horse run for the season and any kind of like hot takes you have. The hot take for me is that, well, obviously we've kind of seen how it's progressed in the bracket, but my perspective is this is going to be the tournament where London prove they're the #1 European team and they'll remain that way for the rest of the year. I think that right now Ultra are on a lot of people's power rankings #2, #3 still in that ballpark. I think that when the reverse sweep guys did that one, they had Ultra at like I think they had them at #2 still actually, just because as of yet on LAN they've still looked pretty good. But I think this is going to be the turning point where London swap places with Ultra. And I think they have some great battles for the rest of the year. I think they'll be very close. I think that London might remain the rest of the year like a top 4 team, top 4, top 3, and Ultra might be like top 4, top 5. I don't know. But I think this is the point where we get 2 European teams very close in the rankings. But London are going to prove that they're the best European squad.
My hot take is OpTic. Of course, it's OpTic. I love OpTic. I think OpTic won't win an event until champs. It's my hot take. I think they win champs, but they don't win an event until then. That's it.
Not bad. Austin's hot take, we're going to win every search.
I'll say my hot take is I bet you 10 teams make roster changes by the end of the year. I feel like it's going to be another one of those years where you're going to have 2 teams. I won't say who 2 teams. Obviously, I'll say probably us and then one other team. But I bet you we're going to start seeing, like, during the midseason, which is you're going to have craziness now for the next, like, 5 weeks. You're going to have a lot. After that, I feel like during the midseason, you're just going to have a ton of changes. It's going to go crazy. So I'll say that. And then my dark horse team, I don't know how much of a dark horse team they are. I feel like it's London. Considering how and the coaches poll that we do, they were in 11th for the start of it. I guess they can still be considered a dark horse. I feel like we've been also saying they're going to be one for a while. I bet you London will. I'll say London probably wins an event this year too. That'll be one of those. So I feel like London's definitely the best dark horse team right now. Now, obviously, that can change. There's actually a lot of talent and challengers this year. Somehow the pipeline keeps getting refilled with good talent. So you could see another team make a move, and then all of a sudden they're like Minnesota of last year, just back in the action. So London, and if I had to pick a even darker horse team, I would probably say Minnesota. I feel like Minnesota is probably
an interesting one.
I feel like they can turn it around. They might just need a roster change, and I feel like they can turn it around and be like that 2-3-5 team that you just don't want to play at the majors, So.
Yeah, they did it last year.
As everyone says, Tatch always gets a slice of the pie every year.
Stage 4, the slice of the pie is complete. That is going to do it for today's show. Thanks all for tuning in. Had a cracking show there. Lots of engagement with the chat. Fantastic viewership as well. If you're still watching live on Twitch and you haven't yet followed the stream, what are you playing at, Sunshine? We're still at 1.8k followers. We need to hit 2k ASAP. The YouTube channel is nearly at 10k. I think it's nearly at 9k, but it's not far from 10k. And I'm sure some of you have been getting the YouTube channel stuff and you're recommended because who wouldn't when the content is just that good? And of course, this will be up there tomorrow, at least as you guys are watching this on Twitch, but it'll be up there today when you guys are watching this on YouTube and all the other podcast platforms. So thanks all for tuning in. We'll be here this time next week after the major to break down all the madness that's happened. Also, yeah, let's raid someone or whatever you call it, host someone after the fact. So we'll throw a raid on, throw a host on some player that's streaming right now. Send them over there. Have a good time. Yeah, thanks all for watching. Take care of yourselves. And we'll see you next time.